Hello, US 101 late start history class. So hopefully you've watched my intro video first, and I'm going to give you, I'm going to discuss kind of what to think about in terms of like more of than what I talked about in the intro video on how to get through and navigate like getting a good grade and keeping up with the assignments and just what you need to do. So there's a few things that I want to say. Um, First of all, I'm always going to support you, and I just need you to be a good communicator. If you get behind or you have issues, needless to say, don't plagiarize. Don't use an AI to try to make the essay or you know. It's better to just get a 0 for the moment. Talk to me, and then just turn in late work if I agree to that. So late work, my late work policy is you have 8 hours to turn in the work after the due date without having to ask for anything or like you don't have to apologize. So in other words, an assignment is due, let's say on a Thursday or a Sunday, and it was due by midnight and you get it turned in the morning. I'm going to just go ahead and grade it. But after 8 hours, basically, you have to kind of explain yourself and ask for permission. And if you turn in the late work without doing that, you automatically get a 0. I will not look at it. Okay, so you don't just put it in there. You have to ask me at that point and just kind of have a discussion. And I just, you don't have to go into a long set of discussions about like explain yourself in some deep way. I want to slow down that as being a habit, right? Okay. But I definitely am understanding, especially if you're a parent or you have work issues or you get sick. I understand all these things. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, and so I don't use the calendar. A lot of students really get thrown off at first on this. Later on, I'll tell you why I don't. It's actually to your advantage, but I'm not going to explain it because then, anyways, you're just going to have to trust your professor on this one. Every week, you're going to look at the weekly work objectives, but it's going to be very straightforward. There's going to be work turned in on Thursdays by midnight and Sundays by midnight. It's not going to be any different days. Thursdays, Sundays. What I want you to do is also, when you look at the weekly work objectives, occasionally you'll see that I give you less work. I'm never going to give you more work. So you're just going to look on there. So I'm going to open up the module. Usually on Sunday, I open up the module for the following week, which will be for the first part. It'll be part 1. And that work will be due on Thursday nights. And then on Thursday, I'll open up part 2, which is due on Sunday. And keep in mind that this week, I am having it set up like a normal semester, not a late start. So all the work that you're doing this week would be the amount of work you have to do in just one part. Okay? That's just what it means to condense a course into a short amount of time. It doesn't mean less work. It means less time or the work is getting done in less time, but it's also you also have less time to get in the work. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's the tricky part about having this, a late start. Okay. And so I need you to keep that in mind. So this is the tricky part about a late start. Okay. It's just, you have a lot of work to do during the week, and it's going to be a lot for me as well. I got to try to keep up and make sure that I'm on top of grading for you and all of that. So if you have any questions, let me know. But I wanted you to just get more comfortable and familiar this week and kind of just say, hey, this is what a normal week looks like, in a normal semester. Get familiar with the videos, writing essays, discussions. Okay, now then week 2, we're going to go into it. Boom. Part 1, part 2. Okay, double load work. Okay. So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, the biggest struggle that people start off with is what I'm expecting with the essays. Okay, the essays are, and for a lot of students that is the most difficult part of the class. Others, it's not so much. But in any case, whatever the case is with it, I'm not grading on your grammar. These are not research papers. I'm having you demonstrate knowledge of material you covered in class. Okay. So I'm going to start off with talking about the essays and like expectations. I actually don't grade hard, but I have some things that I want to emphasize right now that I do not compromise on. Okay. Because I have to get you all ready to transfer to a university. Okay. And there's the issues about AI. And so professors are looking for more and more ways to make sure that students are actually writing their own essays. Okay, so let's break it down this way. I'll often say the essay has to be between a page and 2 pages. You're fine with a page, okay? Um, but it needs to be close to a full page, first of all, okay, to get full points. If I get an essay that's already like half a page of work, and I'm saying a minimum of 1 page in the papers and the essays from 1 to 2 pages, you're going to get less points. Okay, I don't actually like get hyper fixated on it being precisely a page, but also please also keep in mind too, use normal font. Sometimes students think I did this. I would think that somehow making larger letters would trick the professor. Like I'd give them like 2 pages that were really like one by making large letters. I don't know why I thought that was going to work. Don't do that. You don't need to skip lines because I'm not grading by hand where I need to put comments in the margins. So full page at least, please, as much as possible. It needs to be mainly in your own words. Okay, so there's direct quotes and there's paraphrases. What's a paraphrase? It's putting things in your own word. So Turnitin, there's an app in Canvas, and it'll show me a percentage of the content that's given to me in an essay that is found on the internet. And it'll find direct quotes, or it'll find things that are actually plagiarized. So right now I'm not talking about plagiarism. It doesn't necessarily mean it's plagiarized. I have students sometimes give me, I had a student recently give me an essay with something like 87% it showed. And it was mainly direct quotes. Okay, what that means is the student didn't plagiarize, but they just didn't really write a paper, like the essay. It's like 80%, 87% of it is just somebody else wrote. They're just putting into direct quotes with quotation marks, and they're even citing it. I'll give 5 points for that essay or less. Okay, because it just means you didn't write much. You just cut and pasted. This is you need to put into your own words. So try not to go over 20% on Turnitin. I if it's a little bit over that and you've written a lot, I'll probably still give you full points, but try your best to stick to as much of your own words paraphrasing as possible. Now, what I want you to also do is only work with the sources I have. If you use an outside source, you get a 0. Okay, I'm trying to get everybody on board to practice writing and citation, and it doesn't mean, I'll talk a little bit later more about politics and bias. I'm not trying to force you to do it this way just to force you to get a particular ideology. I'm mainly just trying to I'm trying to make the essay situation something in which I know the sources and you can't use AI. I'm trying to get you to practice and to look at and to see that you're using just what material you're given and you're putting it into an essay. So what do I then look for? When I get an essay, before I read it, I look to see if there's citations. There always has to be a citation. And I'm not requiring you to use MLA. MLA is not what's used for a history essay in a university. Okay, they use Chicago style. Chicago style is a very demanding and very complex um, citation requirement that I think a lot of you would be really depressed if I tried to enforce you using the Chicago style citation requirement. If you're a history major, you're going to try to transfer to UC Santa Cruz or Berkeley or something, feel free to engage with me on that, or you could even practice if you want to by sending me Chicago style citation, but you're not required to do that. What I'm trying to get, so I don't require any particular style, but this is what I'm looking for. Okay. So first of all, I want in parentheses, and I'm going to give you examples after this announcement. I'm going to put in the next announcement examples of what an essay should look like. But I'm going to look and see parentheses, and the parentheses, inside the parentheses, it should tell me exactly where I need to go to find where you got the information from. So we use the online source for the Zen text. Now, the online source that I have will give you the exact page number that it comes from on the People's History of Howard Zen. So if you read a portion of Howard Zen's People's History and that's where you got the information from and you typed it out, in parentheses, at the end of putting that in your own words, and perhaps even with a direct quote or whatever, it shouldn't say just that it's a Zen book, but I should have the page number. So I'm comfortable if you put People's History and then comma and the number, like for the page. I'm comfortable if you put Zen, the name, comma, and you put PG or page number, let's say 7. But I would know, I would be able to find it. If you use the online textbook, I think they only have broke it up into chapters, not numbers. So you'd say chapter OpenStax, chapter 21. Or with the videos, citations say video 1. Okay. Or for the articles and the reading links, you just put in the parentheses the name of the article that was in the reading link. And so I'm going to look at the essay, see are there citations, and I should be able to know exactly where within the module for what we covered. I can immediately go there and see that that's where you got the information from. This is the logic behind the citation. So that should always be there. Please break up the essay into paragraphs. And yes, every paragraph, if it has information that didn't come out from your head, from your head internally, and it came somewhere else, by the time we're done with this paragraph, there should be a citation there. Okay, where did this information come from? And that's what the logic is behind all of this. And then there should be some dates somewhere telling me the time period that the essay is referring to, right? Are we talking, I mean, there's people who live now, that are Cherokee. So this is, in 2026, and there's Cherokee in the time periods we're talking about right now. So, but the time periods matter, and the history matters, and the context of the history. So 1776 is what we know is July 4th, the Declaration of Independence. You just need to know. I don't have us do exams or quizzes requiring you to memorize anything, and you don't have to memorize dates. But in the essay, it's got to ground us in, it's not a history paper if it doesn't have something telling us what history is being covered, like the time frame, right? So I look for all those things first, and then I just read your essay. And as long as you've put a good effort into it, and I see all that, you're going to get full points every time. So for a lot of students, it seems a little bit overwhelming at first. And once they get into the routine and they see how it is, and then they see me, I'm just going to say, great essay. I'm going to look at your essay. I'm going to read it through it. And most of you are going to you're going to attain an A grade on these essays. But I'm really going to crack down. There's no compromise. There's no way out of this. The citations have to be within the essay, not at the end. You don't need any bibliography or end notes for the information. I want them in the text so I know that you're writing it. I have been getting a lot of AI essays from students. It's true. And I had one student confess to me after I called them out on it. I want you, this is about you writing the essay, and how do you demonstrate it? You let me know where you got it from within the essay, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay. So hang in there with that. And okay, so in the video notes, you have to write notes on all the videos, and some of them require four sometimes more than two. So that's mainly two. And if it's a longer documentary, I sometimes require more video notes. So what I'm looking for in video notes is that you watch the video. Try to write things that are relevant to the information, and then the discussions are straightforward, right? And I'm already seeing for many of you writing on, introducing yourself and just following, like, what is the question that I'm asking? Answer the questions, and then get involved and engage with your fellow students on, what to do. These are all this is what we work with, and this is the rhythm to get into. Video notes, watch the videos. Some of them are my lectures, some of them are videos of documentaries or other professors. Do the discussions, give me an essay. That's required. Sometimes, I'll tell you the truth, later on you might only have one essay required. Later on, I might give you a week where there's no essays required. But that comes after you are all on board with knowing how to write and do what I'm asking of you to do. Okay. So, now, another thing I want to say, you have to watch announcements. I'm going to have so many students who don't watch this announcement, don't look at the announcements that I post, and do everything opposite, and then write me questions that are all answered in the announcements. I try to make, I try to make them relevant for this class every time and helpful. So after this announcement, you're going to see me post 2 other announcements. Well, actually, sorry, I'm just going to do one other one. I'm going to give you examples of how notes should look, just a little excerpt, just a little clip. And I'm going to give you a discussion again about the essays with an example of what the essay should look like, so you can even visually see that. Okay. And hopefully this is going to be very helpful for you. And so, yeah. So that's mainly all I have to say. Again, I want to let you know I am helpful. I'm not intimidating person to get in contact with. Most students find that whenever they have a problem and they contact me, it's always more helpful. I struggled in school. I'm a late bloomer. And I didn't get straight A's at MJC. And big struggle I had was with writing essays. I wouldn't have enjoyed my class somewhat when it comes to this part as a student. But when I got into UCSC, which I was very happy and proud to get into, I realized what I wasn't being prepared for, or I wasn't paying attention to when it came to, where you have to write 8-page, 10-page, 15-page essays with very strict rules put on you about how it needs to be done, with no compromise. And I had a professor just upset with our class, and just there was people crying in the class, and he was just, how did you guys get into a UC writing essays like this? Oh man, it was bad. So I was like, oh, I don't want any of you guys to go through that. Okay. So just to be prepared, think about what you need to do, get the idea. So this is, the gist of things. So I'm going to end it here. And yeah, I wish you all the best of luck with getting started this week. I will have Zoom office hours posted, and you can also talk to me then if that's helpful as well. All right, we'll be in touch. Good luck with everything.